Green flag back in the air. Here comes the outside line. Momentum building with William Byron in the 9. Joey Logano already straddling between the inside and outside lines as they go down the backstretch.
How about Tyler Reddick in about the 7th row there? He made a big aggressive move on the inside of Brandon Jones, getting into 1, trying to get in that bottom lane.
Ryan Reed up to 3rd. Now, Ryan Reed to 2nd on the inside. Ryan Reed trying to gain his 3rd career win, and all 3 potentially could come at Daytona. 3 laps to go.
Go to the 9, go to the 9.
The 9 of William Byron goes low, trying to get by the 22. They can't go below the double yellow line. Here comes the 20. Eric Jones has made the move on the outside.
The 22 did a good job of using the double yellow line, but it hurt his momentum. Eric Jones trying to capitalize.
Eric Jones on the outside, and around almost goes to 22. Joey Logano slides into the grass. He falls way back.
There you go. Still green, still green.
Race stays green, and Joey Logano leaving some of the grass on the racetrack there in the entrance of turn 3. William Byron coming out of turn number 4. 2 laps of racing to go. Here comes Ryan Reed again on the outside. Ryan Reed to the lead as they go into turn 1. Now William Byron fights back on the inside. Byron back out in front.
William Byron with a great job of that side draft to slow the 16 down.
Hard into the wall goes to 33. He collects the 5 of Michael Annett. Caution comes out. Numerous cars get caught up in this one. Brandon Jones in the 33, Michael Annett in the 5, the 2 of Ben Kennedy, the 40 of Timmy Hill. Cole Custer with a lot of damage to the double zero.
It just felt inevitable. There was just so much pushing, so much banging, no one doing anything wrong. They're fighting for their race team, their fans, their sponsor, but you can only get away with it for so long, and finally the pushes and the runs just became too much.
There's a good chance that they will stop this field after they get through turn 2 or right in turn 2 to red flag this. It will end under overtime. As you see the 16 crew working feverishly to try to do all they can before the red flag comes out, because once a red flag comes out, they have to stop working on the car. Michael Annett making it into the ambulance. He'll go to the infield care center.
Michael Annett had such a good run going, as you said, Jeff, just looking for a bright spot.
Yeah, Michael Annett and Brandon Jones both, once again, just got caught up in something.
Ryan Reed, I know he's not going to be a race winner today, but what a job getting into this race, being in the conversation at the closing laps, had fought his way up, had the lead.
All right, red's out, red's out.
Red's out. They can't work on the car anymore. You see steam coming out of some of the cars.
Steve,
the overflow.
This red flag is significant because we have several cars that pitted on lap 54. So in this red flag coming out, they're not burning any fuel.
That's right.
And that's a big call by NASCAR to red flag. It's the right thing to do.
You see right here, Brandon Jones is just pushing, trying to get that run, pushing Eric Jones in front of him, who's into the rear bumper of Ryan Reed, and basically the push just gets too much. Justin Allgaier pushes the back of Brandon Jones. He gets into the outside wall, and from there, it's a chain reaction.
And you may say, well, why does Justin Allgaier get in there and push when, you know, the line in front of you is getting stacked up? Because you can't see. You have no idea what's going on 2 cars in front of you. So Justin Allgaier, he just knows he needs to push Brandon Jones. He's got to push him to make something happen, but he can't see the cars in front of him are having trouble.
And you see right here, this is what happens. They just get stacked up. The 20 is into the 16, the 33 is into the 20, and that's all it takes. He kind of either loses a little momentum or the 7 just hits him too hard. They spin around. And these cars behind, there's just nothing they can do. Very fortunate that 33 stayed on his wheels. You see the 42 through the grass. You know, this is always the concerning point. When cars start hitting other cars, we see them climb up and get airborne. Luckily, all these cars stayed on the ground.
It's plate racing. It's Steve, you said they're all racing. They're racing for their teams, their fans. This is the nature of plate racing. You have to push. You have to shove. If you don't, your line never moves. But when you do push and you do shove, we have these incidences. And listen, once this wreck starts, just as a driver, you know, it's a terrible feeling. You're hoping you don't hit anything hard. You mentioned it. We've seen so many incidents where cars start flipping. It's a terrible feeling for a driver.
Riding along at 100 miles an hour with the bat cam, and you see the wreck almost come back to the camera there as they slowed way down.
Wow, look at the 23 car there on the bottom, you know, going through the grass.
And this is the shot. You see the cars dancing side to side, trying to get position, and then the 33 just gets spit out of line that quick. And from there, the major crash, and then all of these crew members, everyone that works on all of these cars right here, this is where the disappointment of speedway racing comes in. The long walk from pit road back to the hauler, knowing you had a chance. You built a car, you came down here, you worked all weekend long, your spotter, your driver were communicating, and one car pushes another, and they all crash.
Okay, where you are. Come through there.
That was from Matt Tiff's perspective, from the 19 car.
Look at all the grass inside the car.
Yeah.
All the crush panels get knocked out of the car, and just everything flies inside.
33, Brandon Jones into the wall. Comes back across, collects Michael Annette in the 5. And as you mentioned, those 2 cars sideways in front of the rest of the field. Now it's luck. Michael Annette collected the 7 of Justin Allgaier.
Well, this was the crash that we all felt was coming, but even leading up to this, we saw some huge moves, huge blocks. Joey Logano had William Byron all the way down to the double yellow line, getting into turn 1. And then on the backstretch, William Byron shoving the 22. Finally, he got squirrely or loose, and somehow Joey Logano went a little agricultural, but somehow made it. You see right here, Joey Logano leading the race, and you see, I think it started behind the 9. It looks like the 16 shoves the 9. The 9 has to correct, and as he moves across the rear bumper of the 22, it spits the 22 out of line. Joey Logano does a spectacular job of keeping that car going straight.
Yeah, the 1 shoves the 16 shoves the 9, the 9 shoves the 20. You know, it's just a chain reaction. They're all just pushing each other, trying to win this race, and ultimately it just pushes Joey Logano off the racetrack.
Hitting that grass on the backstretch at 185 miles an hour. Grass collecting on the splitter and the front bumper. Right along.
The 20 popped up there while we were defending. Stay with the 9. There you go. Big shove.
Working in the middle with the 3 behind them. Just wrecking on the bottom.
Yeah, they're up.
Wrecking on the bottom.
There you go.
Clear high, clear.
And that's, I mean, it's that easy, right? The 9 didn't mean to move the 22 out of line, but you know, these bumpers are not perfectly square. The drivers make it seem like they are because they bang time and time and time again, but the bumpers have a little bit of shape to them, and when they aren't lined up perfectly, it just moves the car out of line. And we're listening to Joey Logano about that incident.
Just got into me in the left rear. Set me for a little bit of a ride. Oh yeah, the grass eater.
And you hear there's no disappointment. He's, you know, he understands. He understands. He is perhaps the most aggressive pusher out there. That's how he recovered up the outside, so he knows. And look at the list of cars involved in the wreck.
Such a difficult